Yo, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video on the channel, and today we're going to talk about the state of modern gaming in this new era where we have lots of games coming out, lots of great games coming out, especially in the single player, sector. But today we're going to specifically talk about multiplayer games right now. So there's a lot of good games that are coming out. I mean, there's plenty, and it'd be difficult to list them all. And there's all sorts of genres and everything. But what I wanted to specifically talk about are these really influential, really high quality multiplayer games that are coming out that just aren't hitting those high player counts. They're not really overtaking the big players in the gaming industry. Now there are some exceptions to this rule, and we'll talk about that, but I just think we're getting to a stage in gaming where all the game devs, all the publishers, everyone knows what to do when releasing a game, and everyone knows what to add. All the elements of gameplay, UI, everything is we figured out to a T. We're not in the stage of gaming where we're figuring stuff out. Now we're in the stage of just high polished gaming. And so what we're seeing right now is that there's just a lot of good games coming out, and there's almost like an overcrowded market. And so the issue with that is not that multiplayer games are great, right? It's great to have a lot of them come out, but the issue is multiplayer games are definitely different than single player. When you play a single player game, you pick it up, you play it for, let's say, 8 to 30 hours, and then once you're done figuring out all the Easter eggs, or once you're done with this game, you tend to not come back to it. And if you do, it's only for a few hours or just New Game Plus or whatever, right? So we're seeing right now with multiplayer games, everyone wants a piece of the multiplayer pie, because it's actually, I think, one of the highest forms of revenue in the gaming market, if not the highest. I think it's almost all the gaming revenue in the market comes from multiplayer, and that's crazy, but you guys can correct me in the comments. But I just think that we're dealing with an issue where games like Overwatch, games like Valorant, CSGO, Dota, League of Legends, like all these big games, they haven't really moved. Now, there is an exception to this rule, and that's Overwatch, which actually saw a taken in player count, and then it was replaced by Marvel Rivals, one of the main competitors, and right now they're at 133,000 players. Now, Marvel Rivals is one of the only exceptions that I've seen recently where a new game has shot up and taken one of the big spots as one of the number one multiplayer games in general, right? And so we haven't really seen that with a lot of other major games. Now, the games I want to talk about specifically are Fragpunk, The Finals, and this other game that's not as big, but it's called The First Descendant. It's like a looter shooter, kind of like Destiny 2. Now, these other games, right, the big dogs, the thing is they haven't really changed their content that much. Especially, I'm a big Destiny 2 player, and I don't think they've really, done anything revolutionary in the past few years, right? And so I'm always interested in new games, but it doesn't seem like other players are, or it's not really enticing them. Now, the games like The Finals now, they're at 12,000 players right now. That's great and all, but it's not one of the top spots, and that's what we're seeing. Like, The Finals is such a revolutionary game. New game mechanics, new game mode, graphics are amazing, optimization is great. I mean, there's so many components to this game that makes it special, yet we're seeing that it can't take one of the top spots. Now, the thing with The Finals, it is a new game mode. The game mode they've implemented we haven't seen it really in other games, so it might take time to really assimilate with people. But we're seeing this with other games as well. Fragpunk, 15,000 current active players. The First Descendant, 6,000 current active players. And you see all these player counts are very similar. They're almost at this stage where they just can't quite take one of the big spots. And these bigger players have way more players, like significantly more players. And the thing is, I think we're seeing a thing where it's like gamers just want to play what they're used to. There's a lot of player loyalty. There's high expectations for these new games. And some could say there's lack of innovation just because we've come to a stage in the gaming market where it's just kind of the same thing over and over. And people are like, why don't I just play what's I'm currently used to? Now, I think the only reason Marvel Rivals was able to break that barrier, I think it's because people are already used to these players, right? Like Wolverine, not Superman, sorry, Wolverine, Spider-Man, all these Marvel characters. They're already used to them. So when playing this game, it's almost like they've they've been playing this game for a while now. It almost just fits right in perfect. And on top of that, it's just an overall really good game, right? And I think Overwatch has just been struggling, so it was almost like the perfect scenario. But for these other games, we're just not seeing that. I really hope that we'll see new multiplayer games able to break the barrier that these top dogs are really occupying, right? I hope we'll see it. We've seen a lot of indie games kind of take that space, but I'm just like for example, Schedule 1 recently, which is really cool. I don't think it's going to stay at the top for long. I think it's one of those games, which is great, but I'm just saying, like, we can't innovate. These big games, they just don't care about the players anymore. Once they're making that good money and once they're at that top spot, they're not going to innovate that much unless gamers decide to try new games and try a different taste. So at the end of the day, we'll see what happens, but I'm gonna stick to playing these new games. I hope you guys check them out, and let me know in the comments why you guys love these new games, or why you prefer to just stick with what's doing well currently. So thanks guys for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.